If you're following Johnny and Amber and events around them, you might know there's someone out there named Cat Tenbarge. Cat is a journalist, you could say, at NBC, and recently she went on a podcast and talked about Johnny. So I want to break down a few things she said. Being that I don't own the material, I'll have to pause it in between and say things, so I can't play it full through, but it's only about a minute. However, she makes some pretty potent points from her point of view. As you can see, she's got me blocked, maybe a chain block, maybe she blocked me, whatever. You could also see Johnny Depp keeps winning, trending on the side there. So that's kind of nice. Let's see what we got. Here's the person who hosts Cat. I can't say for a fact what side of the aisle this person is on politically, but I've been making a point that a certain political person is on Amber's side, so you could judge for yourself on that. I digress. Matt, by the way, has almost 400,000 followers.
Amber Heard, after enduring years of abuse, behaved in ways I think most people would disagree with.
Stop right there. So Matt says, as a fact, Amber endured years of abuse. So, by who? She didn't have enough evidence in court to prove that Johnny abused her. Elon Musk's brother says she gave it to Elon Musk pretty bad. She abused her ex in 2009. So, how can you state as a fact that Amber took years of abuse? Well, some people say clown world. That's kind of what we're in right now when I hear things like that.
In ways that were cruel, in ways that I'm sure she regrets. But that's also like the case for a surprising amount of domestic abuse victims. We want victims to be completely like docile.
So wait, how are we calling her a victim if she couldn't prove her case? All right, you're going to say the UK. Well, the problem with the UK is I would think most common sense people would consider facts out in the open for everyone, no closed doors, a 7-person jury, and a judge more effective and truthful than everything behind closed doors except reports from third parties. I know Judge Nichols believed her. So in the best case scenario, all you could say in the best case is it was even legally, but the history Amber has and the evidence Johnny has, when you put it all together, really paints a clear picture. Anyway, the point I was making is let's not call someone a victim unless we know for sure they're a victim. That's one problem these days I have in general is people say victim before due process, before they are actually proved to be one.
And have a clean slate and be, this quote unquote perfect victim who has never done anything wrong. If you're waiting for that person to support, you're never going to find them.
You cannot like Amber Heard while still acknowledging that she's a victim. And in fact, if you don't, if instead you retreat to this position that many people view as neutral, which is that they're both bad, that's actually not a neutral position.
Wait, so if you're neutral, you're not actually neutral. Notice how they talk as if they're not really conversing with each other, thinking about ideas. They're just making statements out there, almost like a show. It's almost like you're going to a play and you're just sitting there listening to rehearsed lines go back and forth with no real thought or substance or taking both sides, almost like propaganda in a way.
That helps Johnny Depp because that's the argument that he is trying to make, is like my behavior is excused because of her behavior.
Okay, so you can't be neutral because that helps Johnny. So what is she saying exactly? That the people who are neutral are actually helping Johnny without realizing it because they're so stupid that they're neutral. I mean, I'd rather people not be neutral when things are so clear. But okay, I get it. If some people want to stay neutral, I can't exactly have a problem with that. But don't go and say, well, if you're neutral, not on my side, you're on their side. Let the neutral people be neutral, please. And by the way, as a journalist who works for NBC, shouldn't you be neutral? Where are the good things you wrote about Johnny based on a bunch of the evidence that Johnny put out? I thought news sources, legacy media, was supposed to be neutral. That's what the news is. It's not my opinion, it's the news.
And so when we view both of them as bad, we're ensuring that the cycle of abuse will be perpetuated. And so that's what I would want people to take away from this is like, you don't have to support them. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to make it a focal point of your life, but don't look at abusive situations as like, oh, everybody involved is culpable, because there always is a victim.
Okay, so Cat is saying that abuse can't be mutual. Well, it's not like weighing 10 bags of potatoes and everything's the same exact weight. However, there can be two people at fault. There can be both sides who are being abusive. Now, again, in this specific case, when it comes to Johnny and his text messages, which weren't meant for Amber anyway, or calling her the C word or something, that's not necessarily abusive. Sticks and stones will hurt my bones. I'm really talking about the physicality of things. And I would say the physicality is much worse than some name calling, especially when you're at your last possible wit with it. Johnny didn't just meet Amber on the set of Rum Diary and be like, F you this, C word this, F you that. No, that was after years of taking, well, a cut off finger, some hits to the face, having to publicly apologize for somebody bringing their dogs illegally into a country, things like that. Anyway, I don't know who Matt is. It's really not about Matt. Matt's just kind of agreeing along. I gotta say once again, my politics might not line up with Matt. I can't say for sure. But I think Matt is the type of person who generally supports Amber. I'm an ex as well. I've got 2,999 followers. It used to be 3,000 like a month ago, which is just a roller coaster. So maybe give me a follow. Maybe one day I'll stay at 3,000. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.